Ever feel like, your computer's just thinking slower than like molasses in January?
Yeah.
It turns out even the fastest electronics, they're struggling to keep up with the demands of today's AI.
Hmm.
But what if we could tap into something like way faster, like speed of light faster?
Well, that's the challenge that MIT researchers tackled, and their solution, I gotta say, has the potential to rewrite the rules of artificial intelligence as we know it.
Yeah, we're diving into a recent article from MIT News. It's called Lightspeed AI. MIT's ultra-fast photonic processor delivers extreme efficiency. And trust me, the implications, they're huge. It really seems like we're at a turning point where just the sheer size and complexity of these deep neural networks are pushing traditional hardware to its limits.
Absolutely. Think of it like trying to, run a marathon, but on a treadmill designed for a light jog. These
Yeah.
networks, I mean, with their millions or even billions of interconnected nodes, they're these power-hungry behemoths that generate a ton of heat, and they're just inherently constrained by the speed of electrons.
Okay, so we need like a bigger treadmill,
Mm.
or I guess in this case, a completely different kind of engine.
Precisely. And that's where photonics comes in. Instead of electrons shuffling along wires, imagine using photons, particles of light to carry out computations. Light travels way faster than electrons, and photonic operations require significantly less energy.
So we're talking about a potential win-win here, both in terms of speed and efficiency.
Absolutely. And MIT's breakthrough, it takes this concept to a whole new level. They've created a photonic chip that can perform all the key calculations of a deep neural network using only light. No more need to convert signals back and forth between the optical and electronic domains, which was a major bottleneck in, previous attempts at optical computing.
Hold on, this is where my brain starts to feel a little fuzzy. So are we saying this chip is doing everything with light, even the complex mathematical operations that AI requires?
That's right. And they've achieved calculation speeds of under a nanosecond, which, to put that in perspective, that's the time it takes light to travel roughly the length of a grain of rice.
Okay, that's insanely fast. But speed isn't everything, right? And it has to be accurate, too.
Of course. Accuracy is paramount. And impressively, this chip, it maintains an accuracy of over 92%, which is comparable to current electronic systems. So this isn't just a speed demon. It's actually intelligent and capable of making complex decisions.
So how does this thing actually work? Can you give us a glimpse under the hood without getting too technical?
Well, imagine a network of interconnected modules on a chip, each performing a specific function, all orchestrated to create an optical neural network.
And what's particularly exciting, I think, is that they're using existing fabrication processes.
Yeah.
Which means, right, it could be scaled up for mass production and potentially integrated with current electronics. It's not just, a lab experiment. It has real-world potential.
Exactly. This technology isn't light years away. It's on the horizon. But there's a catch, a challenge inherent to using light for computation. Photons, unlike electrons, don't naturally interact with each other. They tend to just pass right through one another, which makes it tricky to perform the kind of nonlinear operations that are essential for deep learning.
So how did they crack this? How do you get photons to play nice and actually compute?
This is where the ingenuity of MIT's approach truly shines. They developed something called nonlinear optical function units, or NOFUs for short.
NOFUs. That sounds like something out of Star Trek.
Perhaps, but they're very real and incredibly clever. These NOFUs are a hybrid of electronics and optics, allowing the chip to perform complex mathematical operations without relying on bulky, energy-hungry amplifiers, which, were a major hurdle in previous attempts at optical computing.
Okay, so NoFUs are like the secret sauce, the magic ingredient that allows this photonic chip to perform all the necessary computations using light at blazing speed and with incredible efficiency.
Precisely. And this innovation, it paves the way for a future where AI can truly operate at the speed of light.
Okay, so we've got this incredible chip that can learn and make decisions faster than we can blink. What does this actually mean for us in the real world?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Before we get to the real-world implications of Lightspeed AI, let's take a quick pause to let all this sink in. We'll be right back with more.
It's funny, when we talk about these nanoseconds, it's almost impossible to grasp how brief a period of time that really is. But it's in those infinitesimal slivers of time that this chip is carrying out these complex calculations.
It is mind-boggling, isn't it? It's while light travels the width of a human hair, this chip is making decisions that could impact entire industries.
Exactly. And it's not just about raw processing speed. The way this chip learns is equally revolutionary. Remember we were talking about in situ training?
Yeah.
Well, imagine, the energy savings when you eliminate the need to constantly shuttle data between a processor and memory. It's like having a library built right into your brain. You can access information instantly with no commute time.
So efficiency is like baked into the very design of the system. It's not an afterthought. It's a core principle. But how does this translate into tangible benefits for, someone who's not an AI researcher? Like, how does this impact me?
Okay, well, let's take the example of self-driving cars. One of the biggest challenges there is ensuring they can react instantly to these unexpected situations. With this photonic chip, LiDAR systems could become so responsive, capable of identifying pedestrians or obstacles or sudden changes in traffic patterns in like a fraction of the time it takes now.
So we're talking about a potential leap forward in safety and reliability for those autonomous vehicles.
Precisely. And the implications go beyond, individual cars. Imagine a network of self-driving vehicles communicating with each other in real time, optimizing traffic flow, reducing congestion, and even preventing accidents before they happen.
It almost sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it could become our reality sooner than we think.
And it doesn't stop there, right? Think about how this technology could revolutionize fields like telecommunications. I mean, we're all familiar with the frustration of lag or buffering or, dropped connections. With light-speed AI managing network traffic, those issues could become a thing of the past.
So smoother streaming, faster downloads, crystal clear video calls, all thanks to a chip that processes information at the speed of light.
That's the idea. And imagine the impact on scientific research. Fields like astronomy or genomics or particle physics, they rely on analyzing massive data sets. It often takes months or even years to process. This photonic chip could accelerate those analyses dramatically, leading to much faster discoveries and breakthroughs.
Wow, the possibilities really are mind-boggling. It's like we've cracked open a door to a whole new era of scientific exploration. But before we get, too carried away, I want to go back to those no-FUs for a moment. Can you give us a little more insight into how they actually work? I understand they blend electronics and optics, but how does that enable them to perform these complex nonlinear operations?
It's a fascinating bit of engineering. Really, without getting too deep into the weeds, these no-FUs utilize a combination of materials that exhibit a property called nonlinear optical susceptibility. What this means is that when light passes through these materials, its properties can be modified in a way that depends on the intensity of the light itself.
So it's not just a simple on-off switch. It's more like a dimmer switch that can fine-tune the light's behavior.
That's a great analogy. And by carefully controlling the intensity of light passing through these no-FUs, they can perform these really intricate mathematical operations that mimic the behavior of neurons in a biological brain.
Okay, so it's a bit like manipulating light itself to create a kind of artificial intelligence. It's incredible.
It really is. And it highlights the, convergence of these multiple scientific disciplines, materials, science, optics, computer engineering, all coming together to create something truly groundbreaking.
But even with all of these advantages, I'm sure there are some challenges and limitations to consider. Is there a downside to using light instead of electricity? Are there trade-offs we should be aware of?
That's a great question, and you're right to be skeptical. Nothing is a silver bullet. And there are definitely challenges to address. One is the issue of heat dissipation. Even though photonic computations generate less heat than electronic ones, managing heat buildup is still crucial, especially as we scale up the complexity of these systems.
So it's a bit like trading one set of engineering challenges for another.
In a way, yeah. But the potential benefits outweigh the hurdles. Another challenge is the integration of this technology with, existing infrastructure. The world runs on electronics, and seamlessly incorporating photonics will require innovative design and engineering solutions.
I'm sensing a theme here. Overcoming limitations through creative problem solving.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this field so exciting. It's a constant push to expand the boundaries of what's possible.
Well, this has certainly been an eye-opening exploration of light-speed AI, but I have a feeling we've just scratched the surface.
Indeed we have. The implications of this technology are vast, and its impact on society will likely be profound.
Before we delve into those, broader implications, let's take another quick pause. We'll be right back to wrap up our deep dive into the future of AI. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of light-speed AI, from the fundamental principles of photonics to the, intricacies of those remarkable no-FUs. But it's clear this technology is about more than just, faster chips. It's about reimagining what's possible with AI.
Absolutely. And one of the most exciting aspects, I think, is how this shift in hardware capabilities will drive innovation in the, software realm. The algorithms we use to train and deploy AI, they're largely designed with the limitations of electronic computing in mind.
So we're talking about a whole new paradigm for AI algorithms,
Yeah.
one that's tailored to the unique strengths of optical computing.
Precisely. Imagine algorithms that can exploit the massive parallelism of light, processing huge amounts of data simultaneously rather than, sequentially. It's like the difference between a single lane highway and a multi-lane superhighway. The potential for increased throughput is enormous.
It is fascinating to think about how this could impact specific applications. For example, you mentioned earlier the potential for faster drug discovery. How would light-speed AI change the game in that field?
Well, developing new drugs is a very computationally intensive process, right? It involves simulating molecular interactions, analyzing vast databases of chemical compounds, and predicting the efficacy and safety of potential drug candidates. With the speed and efficiency of optical computing, all these processes could be accelerated dramatically, potentially shaving years off the drug development timeline.
That's incredible. We're talking about potentially bringing life-saving treatments to patients faster than ever before.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Think about the impact on personalized medicine. With the ability to analyze an individual's, genetic data, their medical history, and lifestyle factors all in real time, AI could help tailor treatments and preventative measures with unprecedented precision.
It's almost like having a virtual medical expert by your side, constantly analyzing data and providing insights to optimize your, health and well-being.
Precisely. And it extends beyond healthcare too, right? Imagine weather forecasting models that can incorporate real-time data from a global network of sensors, providing hyper-accurate predictions that could help us mitigate the impact of these extreme weather events. Or financial algorithms that can detect patterns and anomalies in market data, with lightning speed, safeguarding against fraud, and optimizing investment strategies.
The possibilities really do seem endless. But with all this talk of AI's potential, I think it's also important to acknowledge that there are, concerns and ethical considerations that we need to address. After all, any technology this powerful can be used for good or for ill.
You're absolutely right. As we develop and deploy increasingly sophisticated AI systems, it's crucial to have these really open and honest conversations about the ethical implications, right? Who has access to this technology? How do we ensure fairness and transparency in its applications? What safeguards do we need to prevent misuse or, unintended consequences?
It's clear that as AI becomes more pervasive in our lives, these questions will only become more urgent.
And it's not just about regulations or technical safeguards. It's about fostering a culture of responsibility among those who develop and deploy AI. A recognition that, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. This deep dive into lightspeed AI has been both exhilarating and thought-provoking. We've seen the, incredible potential of this technology to transform our world for the better, but we've also acknowledged the importance of approaching its development and deployment with wisdom and foresight.
It's a journey we're all on together, and it's up to all of us to ensure that AI serves humanity in a positive and, meaningful way.
So if you're listening out there and you're feeling inspired by what you've heard today, I really encourage you to dive deeper into this fascinating world. Read more, ask questions, and share your insights with others. The future of AI is still being written, and your voice matters.
And who knows, maybe one of our listeners today will be the next innovator to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
On that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining a future where technology empowers us to create a brighter world for all.